Mary Cravets, welcome to the Star Coach Show.
Thanks, Meg.
So excited to have you here. We are talking about something today, ladies and gentlemen, that you're going to want to know about. Like, how do we attract great clients? What's the difference between really attracting and enrolling clients versus building visibility and credibility? And how do you get more clients with less marketing? I know this is like making you sing already. So, yes, you want to hang in there with us. I'm going to tell you more about my guest and what it is about Mary that made her the person to talk to us about this. Just after I thank you for being here, because I do want to thank you for being a Star Coach listener, for following the show. Remember that we get a new show every Wednesday with great guests like Mary. And it's all about building strategies, tools, and resources to be the best coach you can be, to be the best leader you can be, to lean into this thing we call coaching. What is that, and how can we do that in the best way so that we are not a secret, because we can't be a secret and a success at the same time? So, wherever you're listening, if you like what we're doing on the Star Coach Show, take a minute to subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, would love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because this is where I drop great tidbits and tips. This is where you'll get shorts from my interview with Mary and others, and just basically a great place to hang out. So be sure to follow at Star Coach Show on YouTube. Now, with that being said, you know that I bring great people on the show all the time. Mary is like that and more. So, I was just at a conference and got to like rub elbows with Mary and was like, Mary, I've wanted to meet you for so long because you do great work with coaches to help them quickly increase their income by 50% or more with the systems that you have in place, doing the strategies that Mary knows to be true. Mary is well, Simply Get Clients is the name of her business. Like, hello, talk about branding. Any confusion there about what Mary does? What a great brand. Mary is a client generation expert. Hello, obviously. She's also an international speaker. I had the joy of hearing her speak at this conference, and she is as passionate about helping coaches grow their businesses as I am, which is why when I like meet somebody whose heart beats with my heart, I was like, yes, would you please come talk to my audience? And she was kind enough to say, yeah, I'll be there. So here we are together. We'll have all the links and ways to connect with Mary, the great work she does, in the show notes. If you're watching us on YouTube, it'll be right below this. Without further ado, Mary, we want coaches to thrive.
Yeah.
We want them to enroll clients, actually get paid for the work that they do. And at the same time, I think we all want the world to change just a little bit through this wonderful thing that we call coaching. But in order to do that, we have to work with people. So we're going to be talking about, what's enrollment versus like getting visibility. I mean, I'm not saying either of those is not important, but let's kind of look at where dollars and cents are, right? We've got lots of things to talk about. I want to throw to you, where are we going to start?
Can I start with a story?
Oh, I love stories.
Okay, so this coaching conference we went to. So first of all, I was this big sponsor because I completely believe in investing in the community, being there, all the commitment. And then it went through the roof. My commitment just like completely went crazy. And I'll tell you why. I volunteered to sit down and have a coach demo. Like, so that's being coached in front of an audience, essentially. So super vulnerable. And in like 22 minutes, the coaching I received, I would say that's going to be the spark that turns my business into a multi-million dollar business. So if I believed in coaching before, now it's like, okay, I am all in. So I don't know if it's important to anyone else, but I see the coaching industry so often targeted because they are a hot market. And I've just seen a lot of how the expert industry targets them, and it grosses me out. And so I think it's important for people to know where I'm coming from, like the desire and the motivation and the commitment before I even start to take seriously like the strategies and the structure and everything else.
Oh, I just love that. And I have to tell everybody I'm jealous that I wasn't like listening to Mary's. I was actually a coach doing the coaching in another one of the demos. So I didn't get to listen to Mary's coaching. But oh, how those are the stories that we want to hear as coaches, right? Like
Yes.
this coaching was transformative for me. 20 minutes changed my outlook, my perspective, like I got goosebumps. So excited that you shared that. And coaching matters. So with that, we want to be able to live and feed our families and continue to do the good work that we do and make a living doing that. What do we need to be thinking about with that?
Yeah, well, and you brought this up as kind of like the central theme of what we're talking about, this idea of visibility and credibility versus lead generation or client generation. And this is, I think, one of, if I could name one thing that keeps coaches stuck, it's confusion about this one thing. So literally, I want people to listen to this whole podcast, just let me be clear. But if they just got this thing, it would, I believe, change their business in a very significant way. So here's the difference. So I think of marketing as this big, it's this huge thing, right? And marketing traditionally is about how to get brand awareness like all over the world. Okay. That's not what coaches do. But to break it down a little bit, just to simplify, I think about marketing in two buckets. One is credibility and visibility, and the other is lead generation. So what falls into each bucket? Over here, it's social media, it's your website, it is any printed materials. Not that we have those that many
Right.
anymore, but they're things that are sitting out there in the world, and they're absolutely dependent on someone, your ideal client, when they are ready to buy or to hire, stumbling across that piece in the exact right moment. So that's
And
visibility
then
and
acting
credibility.
on it, stumbling across it and acting
And
on it.
acting on it. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Good clarification. And so then in lead generation, it's about how do you put yourself in your ideal client's path in a way that makes you approachable, where they can see your value, where the people they know they will refer you to. It's about getting in the path of your ideal clients very intentionally. Okay, so where's the problem? The problem is that what do you see in the world? Do you see relationship building lead generation, or do you see the visibility and credibility? We see this stuff every day relentlessly, and it's very easy and to understand why you can say, oh, well, obviously this is thing everybody's doing it. This is obviously
Everybody's doing the visibility, credibility thing
visibility
for anybody who
credibility.
doesn't see the hand that's being held up.
Right.
Yes.
So here's what you don't see. See what this is? This is a Starbucks card, because when people refer to me, I value that and I want to thank them and appreciate them, and I send it in the mail to them. You don't see this
And
stuff.
they hold it. Yeah.
You don't see the the note cards on my desk. So in the coaching industry, the way that business comes to clients, I'm going to get this all like organized for you. The way coaches get clients is through relationships, lead generation activity. The way that visibility and credibility operates in most coaches' businesses is that this is used for validation. So let's say I run across my friend Stan, and Stan says, I am looking for a coach. I'm like, you got to talk to Meg. What Stan's going to do first is he's going to go check Meg out online. What is Stan looking for? He's looking to make sure that Meg is a coach online and not also, 15 other professions. And, basically the brand looks about the same on all channels. He's not looking for, did she post 10 times this week? What's the algorithm doing? He does not care about those things. He wants to say he wants to know if he's credible, if you're credible, and then he'll talk to you. So the split of time that coaches should allocate to these things is about 10%, 20% credibility, visibility, 80 to 90% lead generation. And that's all
Oh,
about building, like sparking, building, and nurturing genuine relationships.
so good. So let's think about how if we're putting our time, our energy, and our resources in the bucket of lead generation, what specifically are some of the things that we're doing that might
Mhm.
be different than putting our bucket into credibility, visibility?
Well, the good news is you're not creating content every day. So let's just start there, which is just exhausting. It's either exhausting or we're using AI and turning out content that almost sounds like us. Okay. So you're not doing
Hmm.
that.
Right.
You're showing up as who you really are. So the top two ways that coaches get clients are through referrals and through speaking. And far and away the higher percent, anybody who's like, I cannot get on stage, please don't worry, because the vast majority of business is done through recommendations and referrals and relationships. So that means the activities, just kind of breaking it down to this kind of my superpower, like taking all these big things and saying, let me get you down to what are you going to do today? The act
Simply get clients. See, that's her superpower. Breaking down the confusion into a simple process. Just want everybody to hear that. So what are we doing?
So it's about figuring out how to take this idea of referrals and or speaking or both. These are strategies. Okay, these are strategies. I had a very rude awakening many years ago. I'll just tell my own story as a way to make other people feel better about any mistakes they've made because I've made them all. So this was like 2011, 12, I don't know, way back machine. And I decided I love to speak. I should go out there and get speaking. So on my to-do list, I'm very organized every day. I put down speaking engagements and I'd write it down. And it was probably 2 months, like 2 months, which is embarrassing. But it was 2 months before I realized that's not an action I can take.
That's a
Not
thing.
an That's an action
Yeah.
step. That's a strategy.
Hmm.
And so the first step is in any strategy you take on, it's like, what is the action step involved? So for me, step one, research. Like who's my ideal client? Where do they gather? Who are the groups who I might speak in front of? And number two is to do a specific number of speaking inquiries, outreaches. And so breaking it down, and that's the key, whether you're doing referral generation or you're doing speaking, it's like, how do you get it down to 100% controllable activities that are so specific? They're not dependent on confidence. They are just dependent on execution. You just go, okay, check,
Ooh.
check, 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 check. The cool thing is you start to make progress, you start to get results, and your confidence catches up with you.
But the action are actionable things not dependent upon confidence. That is so good. It needed to be heard again.
Yeah. Thank you. So that's speaking. And with referrals, everybody kind of creates their own mix their own way, because I know a lot of people refer to referrals as word of mouth. And I cannot think of a floatier, less strategic term to describe how a lot of people treat them. And it's like this thing that just happens. I was talking to, a very big company yesterday, and they were talking about. So, okay, so the reason I'm going to tell you this story is because so many people, including myself, think, well, I'm just the little guy. These big companies must have it figured out. They don't. This stuff is obvious but easy to miss. So here's what they said to me. They said, we have to focus on lead generation because we can't depend on referrals. All our business comes from referrals. We do nothing to generate referrals. We want to focus on lead generation. And I asked, what is lead generation? How do you define that? And it was cold leads. So you've probably, like everyone out there, gotten those LinkedIn messages that are
Right.
like, hi, I want to sell you this. That's lead generation. Tremendously long sales cycles, cold, convincing presentations. I mean, it's just this arduous, soul crushing process. And I asked them, if you could double your referrals, would you mind taking away this cold idea and go with referral generation? They were like, what? I mean, like it had never occurred to them. So the key to it is breaking it down to action steps. Who do you know? How do you reach out to them? How do you ask for guidance and assistance and connections and referrals? Like, how do you do that? What email are you going to send them? Like, really trying to get a process in place so you are connecting with new people, you are nurturing those relationships, you feel great about it, and you're also keeping an eye on your strategy so that you can engage, check them off the list, and then go enjoy your life, go enjoy your coaching.
So, based upon what you're saying, I get a sense that in your experience with working with bazillions of people around lead generation or client generation, people are sometimes missing the thing that's right in front of their face. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And the thing is, in a bad economy, in a good economy, this is a good strategy. In a bad economy, it's crucial to double down on what's working rather than going, let's try all these new things, because all the new things, you're at the starting line. Like this company I was talking to, they get referrals. They have almost 100% close ratio when they get a referral. I mean, there's almost no
It's like,
cost
who wouldn't want to
involved.
lean more into that? But they're
Right.
like, can't depend on that. That's not trustworthy. I've got to annoy people through LinkedIn by sending them things that they don't want to open. And they're like, leave me alone. Well, that's just me. Okay, that's just me. But
Why do we think that when we do a strategy that annoys us, that somehow other people are going to receive it differently? And these are
I don't
smart,
know
smart
either.
people too, you know?
Right, right. But I'm willing to bet somewhere along the line, somebody said, this isn't safe. This isn't a good strategy. We've got to have a backup plan. This works for so and so, or so I've been told. So therefore, we should do that, even if it doesn't feel authentic, genuine, or it irritates the crud out of me when people do it to me.
Yeah. And you just said the key words authentic and genuine. Because I know that when people start to engage in strategies like this, it's uncomfortable and it's sometimes hard to tell, is this something that I don't feel authentic or genuine in because it's really going against who I am, what I know, and all, or is it uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar? So, what I always want to encourage people to look at is if it's a sound strategy, which referral generation and all the actions involved is, if you're uncomfortable, there's two ways to go with it. Well, there's three. You can just stop, of course, but the other ways are you either practice until it gets comfortable or you find another way to do it within the strategy. And I'm telling you, this is why I love working with my clients in these intensive programs I do, is because there is always another way. There's always another way.
Well, and I want everybody listening because the vast majority of people who listen coach, right? That's the Star Coach Show. Let's apply what Mary is saying to what we know to be true about coaching. We get out of the way because there's many paths to the destination. The idea we have for our client isn't the only idea, but what do? We explore, we expand, we open up possibility. So if it works for our coaching clients, would it not work for us as well? So often we put things in completely different buckets. This is working with clients, this is building my business.
Yeah.
It's very often in alignment. So I just love that you said, like, okay, what works, what makes sense for you, but is in the process, is in the path. We're not
Yeah.
going from, down a completely different path. We're on the path, but what's the path that works for us? And if it works in other things, chances are, let's expand our lens a little bit. Let's open up possibility.
Yeah.
Just love it. So, when we're thinking about creating more leads by doing less,
Hmm.
what do you want us to think about?
Okay. So, first of all, it's a lot about trusting yourself, and this popped into my mind because more clients, less marketing. It's like this thing I've done for years. It's a workshop I've done for years, and I sometimes feel like exactly the tricky marketer I don't want to be, because it's
Oh,
like, okay, yeah, yeah, more clients, less marketing. I mean, I can definitely see why you'd roll your eyes at that, or why I would, because I'm skeptical, because I have hired people who did not follow through. They were not the real deal. So I want to really be clear about what more clients, less marketing means. So first of all, I really think for any coach who wants a lifestyle business, and that's someone who wants to make like between 80 and $200,000 in their business, marketing isn't really the lane to be driving in. The lane to drive in is client generation. Because it's not marketing. It's not about educating the whole world. It's about connecting with the people who want to work with you. And so that's a different process I don't even know what marketing is. It's so vast and complicated. And it's one of the reasons why I created a process for client generation, because I wasn't looking for the whole world to know about me. I just
And I
wanted,
just want everybody to really hear that. If you're in this place of like, I don't know how to do all this marketing and I don't know how to post 52 times a day and I don't know how to, it's okay. Do you want to work with 50 million people? Do you have the space to work with 50 million people? What? Like if you were to slow down and just think about what am I looking for? What is my sweet spot? Mary, with the coaches you work with, what tends to be their sweet spot?
when you say sweet spot, what do you mean?
Like, are they looking to work with maybe 20 active clients?
Mm.
Maybe putting in 15 hours a week of face-to-face coaching. Like,
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
I find. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So most of the people I work with were building plans to enroll about 20 to 30 clients a year. Okay. And they're,
a year. A
a,
year, ladies and gentlemen. A
yeah.
year.
And okay. And so to be very clear, again, in the more clients, less marketing, all of the pieces of the puzzle are interlocked or intermeshed. And here's what I mean by that. You can have 20 to 30 clients a year and not work a lot of hours, but also not make the money you need to make if your pricing isn't together. You can make the money you want and have all the clients you want, but then have no life because so it's like the pricing, the ideal client, where to find them, the messaging to attract them, the lead generation, the sales and enrollment conversation, like every piece. The less marketing comes from being more intentional about the pieces of the engine.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it. Okay. So, where next with that? Because I see lots of like percolation going on in the audience and like, ooh, what do I do with that information?
Yeah, and okay, and so here's one of the things I love is that the people I tend to attract and encounter are the ones who have gotten to that place where they have realized that there's no quick fix to this. Okay, so I'm talking about, oh, it's so intentional and there's less marketing and so forth. But if you think about how intentional you had to be about your coach training and how nuanced it was and how it didn't happen overnight, this is a skill set that can be learned. And also, there is no overnight solution. Oh, I take that back. Actually, there is. You get to subcontract for the big names, and that does not give people the full picture of the freedom they want. So there is a quick fix, but there's a sacrifice for it. So I guess, okay,
Right.
so zooming out just a little bit, like making the decision, like what's the combination, the formula of lifestyle that you want. And if it's I want to do no marketing and I'll take the hit financially, go subcontract. Just know you're not working under your brand. You're conflicting out companies to work for in the future. You're making at minimum half what you could, but usually a lot less than that. And that's fine. And also the time you're putting there, you cannot put into build your business. I hear people say, "Oh, well,
Right.
I'll do this and then I'll build my business on the side." It doesn't usually work out that
Does
way. And that's okay. But if you do decide that you want the freedom and the brand and like your own thing, then this client generation is a skill set you've got to embrace. There's not a
and
way
give
around.
yourself the time and the grace to learn it.
Yes, absolutely.
Anybody, because what I often hear in training over, 100 coaches a year, now it's been over 2,000 over the period of time or whatever, is this, I'll just hang a shingle and people will come. And it's like,
We call that
You got to
year
build the
one.
confidence and the competence in your skill set. And then
Mhm.
there is a skill set to client generation. And both of those, we give ourselves the grace and the time, which means we don't do that in a place of scarcity is my other kind of, because if we're
Yes.
in scarcity while we're trying to do that, we are not magnetic.
Mm-mm. Yes, 100%. All of that. All of that. And that whole I'm gonna hang a shingle and people will come, that's called year one. Just and I had it. I think almost everybody has it. We just don't come face to face with the fact that there's a skill set that's missing because we don't even know the questions to ask. And so it's totally fine. I don't think it's ever to learn this idea of a framework for client generation versus marketing, but also like give yourself a breath. And then when it does become to a place where it's like, okay, now I got to learn this. I was talking to a prospective client the other day, and I said, well, what makes you want to work together? And she goes, I don't want to take the scenic route. Just cracked me up. I was like, yeah, it'll still take a minute because I am
Yeah,
not.
yeah. We're still going to get a little ocean and a
Yeah,
little mountain
it's gonna be
view. We're
nice.
going to get some of that. Yeah.
But this is about building like rock solid foundation, sustainable, because it's not just about getting the clients about it's about staying in business and having the lifestyle long term.
Love it.
So,
Okay.
did we come back to your question? I don't even know. I kind of took a
You know
seat
what? I had so much
myself.
fun. I wasn't exactly positive, but what basically what I think we're covering for people is that this is a process and this is a growth process. And in this, let's not miss what's right in front of us because often we just sort of discount here and feel like it's out here somewhere. So, what do you want people listening to be aware of in what might be right here in front of you that involves client generation?
Hmm. I just had 72 ideas and they are all competing for the exit. So let me see
Ooh, love that.
if I can pull one in. Um, Actually, I'm going to do one, and that is the skill set of client generation is not intuitive. So just like, I don't know, macrame, knitting is not intuitive. We'd never beat ourselves up for not knowing it. Please, same space and grace. This is not intuitive. I have people who come with a marketing background, a sales background, and still there's something about being what you are putting out there in the market to provide a service. There's something there's something that makes it very challenging. Um, and the other thing is, this is really important. Coaches, by and large, are learners, like avid learners. And so, two things on this. One, do what you can to make a little bit of a shift to a bias to action, because the learning gives the false impression that you're progressing. Okay. And by and large, my bias to action is what has given me my business. Um, and what's the second thing? Oh, and the second thing is when you are learning, because don't stop learning, obviously, but as you are learning from experts out there, I highly recommend you look through the lens of when they are talking about branding, when they are talking about social media, when they are talking about speaking, and your goal is to get more clients, is their lead generation involved with what they're doing? Because if there isn't, then you're going to look great, but there's not going to be that connecting relationship factor that actually makes people hire coaches. So it's just this critical lens that will literally save you thousands of dollars by not hiring people who are not working on what you are looking for.
Oh, so good. So what should we be asking ourselves? Can you narrow that, like make it
Yes.
simple? Like I'm trying to decide whether to hire this person, or this person.
Yep.
And maybe none of those people are the right people, but
Great.
what should I be asking myself or
Ugh,
asking them
good
maybe?
question. So first of all, what's your goal? And if it's to be visible, that's fine, but understand visibility doesn't mean clients. If
Mhm.
someone says clients will be able to find you, that's not it. And let me be clear, brilliant experts out there. Actually, I'm going to tell a story because yesterday, a good friend of mine who is like one of the most brilliant brand strategists I know, one of her clients has a service I need. So I sat down with her yesterday and she did a sales conversation with me. And she had no idea what she was doing. And she's absolutely brilliant. Her brand looks gorgeous, but because this is client generation, sales and enrollment, understanding how to have a conversation so that people they reflect and create the value and understand the value, and they basically enroll themselves because they are making the empowered decision. And she had none of that, and it was just breaking my heart because at the end of it I'm like, I know because I'm experienced enough, I can tell you're credible, but I have no desire. Like at the end, if I was not someone who wanted the service, I was like, I didn't get the chance to reflect and decide, and everything was just a price tag. So that's to say, branding, great. I branded my company in year 10. Okay, simply get clients. No, I was marycravets.com for 10 years. It's terrible. Didn't matter. I was in multiple six figures by that point. Didn't matter. What mattered, lead generation. So I feel like it's a very complex question to say, well, what should we be looking for? Yeah. I don't know how to say it other than, really make people say, what is the method for getting clients? And if they say you're going to be able to be found, it's not enough.
So that's the question we ask. How are you helping? What is your program or your process or what you're selling me? How will that help me fill my calendar? How
Yep.
will that help me get clients? And then we listen for what they're saying, and and I guess kind of the measuring that we're using is, does that make logical sense for what I'm trying to get?
Yes. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
When you help your clients use your formula or your process, your strategies, what do you want? Just like in obviously everybody who's listening isn't going to be able to hire you, but in general, we do want them to walk away with some things to think about.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say you want everybody listening to at least challenge themselves to think about in the way of their process of client generation?
Well, I think like the key thing, like the turning point I always see when I'm working for clients is when they understand how to answer the question, what do you do? So if you were to tackle one thing, it would be that. And I'll tell you, when I first tackled that, I went to a conference or a workshop for 3 days and I cried for 2.5 of them because it's hard to shift because messaging, like how you answer that question is messaging, and to become magnetic, here's the critical shift. And this is the tip that I hope everyone can like run with, go with. And that is, the shift is, it's not what you do. It's not the strategy. It's not coaching. It's not, um, it's not the certifications, the assessments, that is not magnetic. People don't care. What do people care about? They
The
care about
results.
themselves. That's all they
Yeah,
really, I
yeah.
mean, like
Yeah, what's in it
primarily,
for me? Because
it's
I'm the one
what
that's
is
going to be
what's in it for
buying.
me.
What's in it for me?
Exactly. So the magic that makes messaging magnetic is when you can tap into what are those things that your ideal clients are struggling with, feeling, desiring. And I think, and you have to picture, this is a picture I want to just embed in everyone's head. You want to think of it as they're just about to click on connect with your Zoom call. And as they've got that finger on the mouse, it's like, what do they know in that moment before they've said one word to you? If it's something you have to teach them, guide them, educate them, it's not magnetic messaging. It has to be entirely from their experience, because messaging is magnetic. When it's magnetic, it's a mirror. You're holding up this mirror and people are like, oh my God, that's me. Yeah.
Okay. So, with that, I hope that everyone who has been listening is in a place of, where am I spending my time and my energy?
Yep.
Is it in the bucket of client generation, or do I realize that I'm doing a lot of credibility, visibility, and I might need to switch my energy, my focus, my time, and resources to a different bucket? Mary gave some things for us to think about when we're in those buckets. And we're going to have links for how you can connect with Mary below this video if you're watching us on YouTube or in the show notes. But just simply, Mary, how would people connect with you?
Yeah. So you said something earlier. You said, not everyone's gonna be able to afford to hire you. And what I have made available each month is like the intro, kind of like prerequisite course. I've made that available every month because I think everyone should be able to get the framework for client generation so they can take everything they already know and at very least, get that working better for them. So each month, surprise, I have a more clients, less marketing workshop. It is complimentary and it can be found on my website. You can go to simply get clients/free intro, or you can simply look under programs and it's there.
So good. So I was wrong. Everyone listening can afford, and I don't even know that I meant to say afford as much as like will be, engaging, but oh my gosh, it is there. It is there to, and to me, that speaks to who Mary is authentically and that she authentically wants you to get your work into the world. So we're going to have the link for that in the show notes. We'll have it below this video on YouTube. And so as you think about your work in the world, ladies and gentlemen, and getting your work into the world, sometimes it involves a shift of perspective, the way that we're looking at it. And that's why I do the Star Coach Show, because experts like Mary come on and say, here's another way to look at it. Now, I get that sometimes their perspectives might be different, and you have to kind of choose what works best for you. This is one of the things I would say when you're thinking about who you want to hire. Are they actually doing what they say they're going to do? And in as much as are they doing it and are they succeeding? Are they thriving in their business by doing what they would recommend that you
Yes.
do? That's one of the things that you really want to be aware of. So think about the things that we talked about. What do you want to add to that, Mary?
Okay, so I just have one thing. Yes, I have to add this because you brought this up, this idea of are they actually succeeding? Yes, for the experts, 100%. And for the coaches you're talking to. Because here's what I hear in coaching circles. Oh, you know what I tried? I tried LinkedIn. I got really good results. Here's the question to ask. When you say results, what do you mean? I got like 3,000 impressions. Great. What happened because of those impressions? Okay? Because I have seen coaches whip themselves into excitement because someone said that worked, but they didn't define what worked means.
Oh, I love that. It's a major deletion, which is what we, like get curious about it.
Yes,
What specifically does success mean in that situation? What did you, what did those impressions lead to? Love that um, because we're all doing the best we can in any given moment,
absolutely.
but we have different definitions of what that actually is. And if we are getting clients and enrolling people, um, that might be very different than getting 52,000 impressions. It might not be the
You
same
gotta
thing.
ask the question.
Got to ask the questions. So I love the fact, let's give the link one more time to your
Yes.
free course,
Yeah,
your
simply
complimentary course.
getclients.com/free intro.
Love it. So as we close out our time together today, I hope that each one of you is walking away with at least a thought to challenge yourself. What did you believe was success? And maybe we start with what's my new definition of what I'm really working toward and what success really looks like. How clear are you about what you ultimately need to live the life that you want to, and what might need to happen to fill that bucket? I am so grateful to Mary for bringing perspective forward about the way that we think about things. And ultimately, I want you to hear that there were two things that really lead to success for coaches: referrals and speaking to sell. And you don't necessarily have to do both. What is right in front of your face that you might not be giving credit to? You know, I think about the fact that often when we're an expert in our own community, we don't get treated like we're an expert. And so it's sort of the same thing. If you've got warm leads and people right in front of you, do they somehow not feel as enticing as the people that are like way out here? Maybe we need to shift that perspective just a little bit. So, thank you for being a listener. Remember that we are all here on this earth together for a reason, and we have our own unique talents and successes and past experiences that sometimes get covered up in the fog of life. And that's how come I do the Star Coach Show, to get that fog out of the way and reconnect you with your own brilliance. So connect with one another. Know that there is often things right in front of us that we are discounting. We are here to be for one another as well as like the best we can be for ourselves. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Let's do the heavy lifting together. Follow up with the great work that Mary does. And until next week, this is Meg Rentschler wishing you the very best for your success. Thank you for being a Star Coach listener. And thanks again to Mary Cravets for being my wonderful guest this week.
Thanks, Meg.